You're listening to iCannabisRadio.com.
All right. Welcome back to In the Lab with Jennifer and Tamar.
Hello.
Tamar's back. Yeah, the show last week was just not the same without you. It was Steve and I, and Steve's kind of hard to engage. Anyway, we have a very special guest today, Luke Ramirez, who not only owns a dispensary called The Walking Raven, but he is so entrepreneurial and wants to help people that he created the Cannabis School and Consulting online for people to learn about cannabis and the different aspects of it, from legal to science to marketing, everything. And he's got a pretty good lineup of people on there. And if you want to check it out, it's cannabisschoolandconsulting.com. Welcome, Luke.
Well, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
You bet. So basically what we do is kind of catch up what has happened and everything, and then we'll go into Luke's story about how he got into the industry and what motivated him to start this business school. So, Tamar, why did you miss last week?
Just super, super busy. It was also first day after I took a break for my birthday.
Oh, that's right.
Playing catch up.
July 4th
Yep,
birthday.
Independence Day.
Yep. My stepmom has a July 4th birthday too, so woohoo.
Very independent people.
So you had a good time?
I did. It was good to just relax and hang out with the family. And
I know, it's amazing. How many days did you get off? Did you not know what to do with yourself?
well, we all got the 4th off, so I just took the day before and the day after. So I had,
Nice.
5-day weekend essentially.
Right.
So we went to the lake, went to the mountains, hung out with family, hung out with friends. It's nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We also tried to fit in some moving as well, which is always fun.
You know what? It's so funny. Everybody I know, my business partner moved, my chemist is moving, Joe Lamoureux's moving, you're moving. It's insane. It is absolutely insane.
Right.
So, and then let's see what happened last week. Well, Can Labs tested for the 710 cup. We tested the residual solvents to see how, if all the contestants were purging and everything like that. We actually had 74 samples, so they had a great turnout for that. Unfortunately, about half of the samples were over the only things we can compare to, which is OSHA, and that's basically inhaling or, OSHA rules are like if you're around a manufacturing plant and, there's butane in the air and stuff. So, again, we don't know a lot about it. But as we discussed many times, all of us preach the good word of cannabis, and the last thing we want to happen is somebody to die from cannabis, contaminated.
Right, more specifically, to die from the contaminations within the hash, yes.
Sure, sorry, yeah, the contaminated cannabis. So, yeah, so about half of the samples were dirty. One was off the charts in about the 7,000 parts per million range, and I can't remember which solvent it was, but it was pretty crazy. But I guess they had some great entries. I know that one person didn't have anything left in their hash. Nothing.
Nice.
Not 1 parts per million. I only know the number, so I'm trying to contact those guys so I can reach out to that person and tell them great job.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Although the rest of them were, there was some pretty amazing hash. So I unfortunately didn't get a chance to go down there. Did you?
I was
Yeah,
a
so tell
part
us.
of the green team, actually.
Oh, really?
which
Denver
is-
Relief's green team.
Absolutely. A wonderful group put on by Ian Steve and Kayvon Calabrari of the Denver Relief Medical Marijuana Center and also Denver Relief Consulting. They actually lead the nation in philanthropy efforts for the cannabis community.
For sure.
We were out there picking up trash. So we made sure that event was left very clean, unlike the Cannabis Cup event that recently happened. And we had a group of about 10 volunteers last night alone.
Wow.
That went around and spent their time instead of enjoying the festivities. That went around and helped out and picked up trash and helped sweep and assisted the crew over there. So
That's so awesome.
yeah.
Thank you, Ian and Kayvon at Denver Relief. That's totally special. They do that on 420 downtown at the Civic Center, and that's awesome. Another group that does a lot of stuff, volunteering and raising money, is the clinic.
Amazing.
They have the MS Walk, and soon they have the golf tournament that you can definitely check out. You can go to thecliniccolorado.com and get more information on that, but definitely the top 2 in giving back to the community, which is awesome.
And the great thing about the Green Team is that they've actually gone national now.
Really?
Just last 420, they were in Boston doing the 420 pickup over there as well.
Were they?
So
Oh, that's cool.
There's also a couple other cities they were in too. So between groups like the Green Team and the Clinic, I think we definitely have some great folks out here to represent our community. Now the Clinic golf tournament is full, I guess.
Oh, it is.
But there is
Okay.
still tickets for the pre-party the night before, so I'd definitely look into that. And then also, if you're inside of the industry, there are still sponsorships available as well. So I know definitely reach out to them if that's something that you're interested in.
Yeah, and that is the first weekend of August. I believe the party is on, here we go. I just pulled it up. The party is on that Friday, which is the 2nd, I think. I don't think it's the Saturday. And then the golf tournament is actually August 4th on Sunday. So yeah, if you did want to do any type of sponsorship or support that, please, go to them and at thecliniccolorado.com and help out. It's definitely for a good cause, MS. And, So tell us about the 710 Cup. How did it go?
Sure.
What was the vibe? Were there a lot of people? Tell me what's up.
Absolutely. It was a great, peaceful environment. Very relaxing. A lot of dabs taking place.
Mm-hmm.
So I think everyone was very, very mellow out there. Let's say probably about 15 to 20 different companies representing our industry from all over the nation. What was interesting about the 710 Cup was that they allowed out-of-state entrance.
Right.
Not quite sure how the compliance worked on that, but it made for a great scene as far as getting the good culture, and we had folks from Wisconsin, folks from Rhode Island, and a lot of folks from Washington State as well.
Ohio, Florida.
Ohio, yes, yeah.
Because some of them stayed in our building. Weed Maps is in our building,
Oh,
and
I
I
see.
saw license plates from everywhere. It was really cool. We met some people that came out from Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
So this is huge for them. I mean, for us, it's like, okay, but we just don't realize, that no one else is having all these great things, whether you're into dabbing or not. There's always events for whatever kind of cannabis user you are.
They definitely led the way for a competition with dabs. I feel like there's still a long way to go in the professionalism, but they definitely made a great first step. I definitely feel like we need to address the out-of-state entrance and the compliance on that as well. But yeah, the organizers they had to move the venue from the Expo Center to the Rights Services Event Center at 4800 Colorado Boulevard, and they put on a great atmosphere. So
I heard it got on the first day it got rained out.
yes,
Is that right?
yeah.
Oh, did it really?
Yes.
Started
Is
hailing
it
even,
outside?
yes.
I think, yeah.
I thought it was inside.
They had both, Jennifer. They had a temporary indoor building where they had panels speak, such as David Madalena, who also teaches a class with you on the Cannabis Business School, and also Samantha Walsh spoke on the hemp side, and a whole lot of different panels. And so it was kind of a mix. They had the indoor, and then also the kind of the outdoor kind of mall type atmosphere where folks can go around and see the different kind of glass that's available. Grassroots was very heavy in their presence there, with amazing apparel that is made out of hemp as well, so it's good for the environment.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's great. Yeah, I tried to get some contest winners, but I know the clinic took second with their Tange, but that's the only winner I know. So hopefully next week I can give more about that.
The Growing Kitchen as well. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Really?
Growing Kitchen took down at least 2.
Wow.
I think including 1 first place.
For edible cooking oils.
No, this was for BHO, I believe.
For smoking?
Yeah, for waxes. Correct me if I'm wrong, either wax or shatter.
Well, I didn't know how because I thought that they were going to have a separate category for smokables and for edibles. And I know the Growing Kitchen sells edibles, so I didn't know how it all turned out. But I know that they win a lot of awards, so that totally makes sense. That totally makes sense. In fact, the clinic has swept every competition, Cannabis Cup, the THC. We were just talking about that today. And now, he takes second with Tange. I mean, they really,
And deservingly so. They run a great organization.
Yeah, they do.
Some of the best trained employees. I've gotten to know the owner of the clinic a lot better recently in this past couple months, and ran by great individuals.
Yep, absolutely. So, also, the emergency rules came out. And boy, is it an emergency. Because for the testing piece, literally, it says all retail marijuana establishment licensees are required to test retail marijuana or retail marijuana products to ensure, at a minimum, that products sold for human consumption do not contain contaminants that are injurious to health, and to ensure sufficient and correct labeling. Testing shall include, but not limited to, an analysis for the following: residual solvents, poisons, toxins, harmful chemicals, dangerous molds, mildew or filth, harmful microbials, E. coli, salmonella, pesticides, and then, of course, cannabinoid potency. So talk about wide open. So, of course, they formed they're having another 5 working groups, or task forces, if you will. And my chemist will be on one. I will be on another. They are sending out exactly what that looks like, but we will be in charge of creating all the rules for legalization.
Thank you for your leadership, Jennifer. No, seriously, you don't hear that enough. A lot of time and resources are put into instead of promoting her bottom line or gimmicky, she makes sure this industry is doing it the right way. So thank you, Can Labs.
Thank you. Yes. I really appreciate that. And it is a lot of work. And it's great how the state can reel in people for free work. It's great.
It's all like-minded people too, as well.
True.
We have to have the scientific platform. We have to have policy, regulation. That's the only way we're going to be taken seriously. So I echo Luke. Thank you so much, Jennifer. I mean, I know it's not easy. We're all extremely busy, so it's definitely appreciated and it's needed because we are paving the way.
I know. And if I can just keep that in the back of my mind. I mean, and it's not like I hate it. I actually enjoy it, and I'm learning a lot about policy and politics and all of that stuff, which is great because I knew zero. But it is very difficult. And then, of course, you have people that are fighting you teeth and nails. So let's take a break, and we'll be right back.
Probably.
Call Canisher at 1-800-420-5757 for all your insurance needs. Canisher understands the risks you face each day, and we are there to protect your business and your investment. Since 2010, Canisher has been serving the cannabis industry nationwide. Call Canisher at 1-800-420-5757 or visit us on the web at canisher.com to learn more about our insurance and risk management services. Proud member of the NCIA.
Cannapunch is a delicious and effective medical marijuana beverage proudly made right here in Colorado. Each bottle is freshly infused with 100% pure flower extract from the highest grade marijuana plants available today. Using proprietary extraction methods, every bottle of Cannapunch is consistently and reliably infused with an exact milligram dosage that you can count on to relieve your symptoms each and every time. Cannapunch is delicious. There's never any medicine-y taste. We use only 100% cannabis flowers. No trim or byproducts are ever used in Cannapunch. It does not require refrigeration and comes in convenient, resealable multi-dose bottles from 60 milligrams to 200 milligrams. We have drinks with dosage that works best for you. Cannapunch is available in a variety of delicious flavors like black cherry, watermelon, pineapple mango, and blue raspberry. And we now have strain-specific beverages available just for you. Cannapunch is delicious, convenient, consistent, and effective. Give it a try and experience the Cannapunch difference.
Green Faith Ministry is for spiritual guidance, MMJ information, and networking combined with compassionate care on the way to enlightenment with all Green Faith sacraments. Green Faith provides charity assistance, including medical and food throughout the year. Contact them at greenfaithministry.com.
All right, and we're back. So, so the testing or these work groups are going to start. My first meeting is Thursday, and I don't exactly know what working group I'm in. My chemist is in another working group, so I figure she's in the more, nitty gritty, what we're going to need for testing, versus myself, who's probably going to talk about licensing and policy and that kind of thing. But we'll see. Hopefully, I'll have an email today regarding that, which is going to be amazing. I mean, listen, whenever I can learn something, it's definitely worth it. So as much work as it is, it's totally worth it. So more importantly, Luke, let's talk about you. Let's talk about how you got into Walking Raven. What'd you do before and all of that stuff?
Absolutely. Well, I grew up around cannabis for a long time prior to the legalization. My business partner has been growing cannabis legally under Amendment 20 since 2003. So we definitely had some experience behind us. In 2009, he decided to start a dispensary. We're located off Evans and Broadway, Walking Raven. And at that time I was in insurance sales, so I didn't spend too much time thinking about diving full time into the industry. Had a lot of doubts, like other folks, about how long I was going to be around, that the state police were going to arrest us any day, so on and so forth. So I helped out financially with the company at first, and took a complete step back. And unfortunately, Walking Raven was not ran very professionally during my absence from them. I came on board in November 2010. One of the first things I had to do was actually eliminate our entire staff and start from square one. So it's been an interesting ride.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
Sure.
Because on top of it being very difficult to run this business, no tax credit, no banks. It's very tough for employees as well. Employees that aren't scared to take the step to work in this industry, but then also people that can pass a background check. And I'm talking student loans, taxes, anything. You cannot work in this industry. So what kind of
absolutely.
were the things? I mean, we all struggle with employees, but what are some specific things?
I love to talk about that. I actually taught a class on my Cannabis Business School and Consulting website where I go in depth on how to hire staff in this industry, what kind of questions to look for, and good resources to look as well. One of the best places to hire out of as a person in the cannabis industry is Students for Sensible Drug Policy.
Oh.
They come up with very motivated, smart, educated folks that have a career motivation to work for your company, which is very rare in a part-time job, obviously. obviously,
Sure.
you get a lot more value than the actual dollars and cents that you're giving them because there's indirect benefits that person is getting.
Interesting.
So yeah, Students for Sensible Drug Policy is the number one place to look for. You need someone that's very knowledgeable about cannabis, such as yourself, but also punctual. We do run a professional organization. If we say we're open at 9 a.m., we have to be open at 9 a.m., not 9:15 or 25 or whenever we wake up. So it's interesting to find that appropriate balance, and it all starts with you as an owner. How do you represent yourself? How do you go about your business? But at the same time, we have to keep our cannabis culture, keep it fun, and that is also a dual motivating factor for finding a staff as well. Make sure to give them incentives to make sure they don't steal from you. In a black market environment, employee theft is highly relevant. In fact, that was one of the factors that almost put us out of business before I took over. We had almost $60,000 in employee theft in 2010 alone.
Oh my God. And that's little theft at a time, right? All year?
Sure.
Like, so you wouldn't notice, or
just a quarter here, a
'cause there's
quarter
cameras.
there. Well, not back then. There wasn't required to be cameras.
Oh.
This is pre-HB 1284. So,
okay.
Yes,
Got it.
HB 1284, everyone, is July 1st, 2011 when they implemented the vertical integration and the mandatory
Wasn't that 2010?
No, 2010 was when
2011.
they...
Okay.
1284 didn't do vertical integration. I'm sorry. 2010, that bill did require vertical
House
integration.
bill.
You're right.
Right.
Okay.
No, we
Anyway,
know.
so we digress. But to find a great staff, it's it's important that you have someone that respects the history that we're making here, and that really feels like they're stepping into a movement every day. So that's why it's so great to be in Colorado, because professionals like Jennifer and Brian Vicente, Christian Cederberg, and Trip Kieber. That's how I was able to get most of them to teach a class on my website, because we have this altruistic view of the industry. So yeah. Staffing is definitely kind of a debacle, but I recommend definitely checking out my class if you have more questions on that.
Great. And again, that's Go ahead and...
It's at cannabusinessschool.com.
Cannabusinessschool.
You can also find us on Facebook.
Okay. Great. Yeah. I just know that everybody I know in this industry has had employee troubles, period. Whatever that means. And a lot of times that's the owner, and a lot of times it's just the person, the employee. But you're absolutely right, and I never would have thought to do SSDS. So
SSDP. Absolutely.
SSDP.
No, that's okay.
I can't spell.
Any other kind of advocacy group. Advocacy groups are great to find people with that innate passion to where they will actually provide more value for your company than what you're paying them for, because of the indirect benefits I talked about earlier. So, and
they're already passionate about drug policy and everything. So, I mean, it's like their dream job. We've also had great luck, honestly, at universities and stuff for interns.
Sure, absolutely.
That's how we start at Can Labs. You have to start in the lab as a free intern. And I now have the best lab analyst in the world.
That's
oh my
amazing.
God. I love him. And, just without him and without Heather, I mean, we would just be nothing. And I think that sometimes owners forget that, and, they really, but on the other flip side, I don't think that there is a lot of, setting expectations either.
Right.
We talked about how the clinic clearly sets expectations. You know what's expected of you. And I think a lot of times, the turnover may be so heavy that like the owner doesn't even get involved, which I think is not good.
Sure.
I mean, especially, I think the biggest business probably is 130. You should know your staff. You should, I think that, because that's why I never jived with a big company, because I didn't want to be a number.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely. And in this industry, it's really important to keep our culture, to keep that
right.
love, if you will. And
that's right.
And that's a great thing about the clinic and Denver Relief especially.
Yep.
Those owners are very active, very personable with their employees, and just good role models in the industry. So it's definitely something that Walking Raven's hoping to keep intact as we move forward and grow our industry as well. We are going to be harvesting from a new warehouse. I don't know if I told you, Jen, we expanded our production in the middle of May.
Fantastic.
So we we will be having double that production that we're used to, harvesting in about a month. So we're going to have all new strains, including the Wappa, Agent Orange.
I've never even heard
Great
of the
God.
Wappa.
Exactly. We invented it. So
Awesome.
yes, we're definitely very excited. And on top of our Hong Kong diesel as well, which is always a winner. But you go in depth on your class on product testing, in depth on decarboxylation, if I'm pronouncing that right.
Decarboxylation.
And as well as liquid chromatography versus gas chromatography.
Yep.
And really how to find a good lab, reference points, where they get them and how they obtain them, and are they through a third party. As this testing moves forward, it's important that we have some sort of standards. And I feel like yourself and Dixie Elixir helping you is really moving forward and setting those standards. So a lot to be learned on that class. Your class was one of the ones I personally learned the most off of. So,
well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I really hope that Heather can do a class, my chemist, because she can get in a little, deeper science. But the problem is, I just feel like no matter how hard we educate, that until the state gives me until I'm certified by the state, that it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
I use the same instruments that pharmaceuticals do to test pharmaceuticals. And, we buy standards. We do everything. We can tell if our instrument is acting funny or something happens. And yet it always is the lab that something's wrong with my lab. It's not that they, I did everything the same on the grow, but it's a plant. It's a plant, different type of year. I mean, it's just amazing to me. And I've been taking it personally, and what I find is that I'm just going to have a heart attack. And we're still going to keep accurately testing, although I'm going to have a heart attack. So,
well, don't take it personally. It's the growing pains of the industry, I think.
I know it is,
and that's one of the main reasons they have standardized grows. If you want to do any kind of case studies, the plant you use has to grow under those strict conditions. So, some growers may say, they're doing everything the same, but there's no way to know that unless you are actively testing as you go.
And another point to that, Dixie Elixir has great testing policies. Chip Keeper also teaches a class in my school, and he teaches about his min-max variance that they go through and what percentages they use on that and what stages of the process they actually test. Very important.
And we actually, so the min-max vary, because I actually had the science division there. So
I see, yeah.
The min-max.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I guess you didn't realize that.
Chip was quoting you.
She is the science,
okay.
The min-max variable is okay for this industry because 5% under, 10% over, most people don't mind if they have a little bit more than what the dose is in this industry.
Right.
But what my partner Darwin and I are trying to move towards is actually, so dietary supplements is 10% variance, nutraceuticals is 5%, pharmaceuticals is much less. So what we're trying to push for is 2%. And so we utilize a lot of spot testing, the trim, the oil. We even test the waste to make sure we're not wasting any cannabinoids.
Right.
So our goal is, along with Jen, to bring more scientific validity to cannabis. Because if you were to remove cannabis, it's just another herb. We have to stick with the tried and true scientific method.
Absolutely.
That's right.
And, a big part to furthering that movement, I believe, is having trained bud tenders or cannabis consultants, if you will, staff. So I definitely use my classes as a training for all of my staff. They've all watched Jennifer's class and now can explain a little more in depth on what the difference between liquid chromatography and gas chromatography is and why mobile testings don't work and decarboxylation and so on. So I think the staff that's the face to our consumers. And those are the people we need to focus on getting educated so they can actually, because they're the ones building those relationships with actual consumers.
They're the first line.
They're on the front line.
They are the front line,
Absolutely.
and regardless, unfortunately, they're usually the not so well paid. I mean, actually, some dispensaries pay very well, but again, I mean, it's all relative. And again, people think we have money trees when we absolutely don't. So, but they're the first
Different kind of trees.
Yeah,
right. Plants.
Sorry.
Anyway, the cannabis consultant, I mean, they're the first person talking to the patient. Don't you think you should spend time training them and making sure that they understand and they can portray your dispensary to people? Because
Absolutely.
I am told all the time that, oh, no one even talked to me. Someone was short. They told me, oh, that CBD didn't matter. And I mean, just all this crazy stuff. And I'm just like, how do those people stay in business?
We need to mainstream or streamline information. And one of the packages in my school, cannabisbusinessschoolconsulting.com, is geared towards training of management for cannabis companies. It includes everything from product testing to marketing and advertising, how to do that responsibly in our industry, to raising funds, to legal aspects that are important. So you're absolutely right, Jennifer. When people go inside dispensaries, they'll get one version A from this person, version B from person number 2, and then they take those versions and make their own, and then tell their friends who go with their own versions, and
Totally.
so on and so forth. So one of my
It's a
main goals,
disaster.
it is a disaster, and that's how you're streamlining testing. My goal is to streamline knowledge and make it available to the general public for an affordable price. So that's why I've found the biggest experts in the industry, including yourself, and then it's extremely low price and convenient for people to access. Right now, if you want this type of information, you pretty much should travel to a symposium, for example, in the National Cannabis Industry Association, which we are actually going to film those next 2 symposiums in Las Vegas and Chicago.
Awesome. So
and
I'll
make
get to
them
be on
available
film.
online.
Woo!
Again, yes.
Yay. Fantastic.
Yes.
I had another question too, regarding. Oh my God, I just lost my train of thought.
That's okay. I can just pick up where I left off. Then.
Okay, yeah.
So those symposiums will actually be available for sale on my website. So if you're not able to make it out, some of the top speakers in the world will be talking about the new Las Vegas infrastructure that's going to be taking place there, as well as in Chicago. There's a lot of question marks there, but currently there's going to be 60 cultivation centers in Chicago with 60
Dispensaries.
stores with 22 cultivation centers.
Max 22, yeah.
So I think the ticket to get out there is $350 plus travel expenses. So you're looking at a trip, obviously, in thousands of dollars.
Definitely worth it, though.
And worth
I mean-
it for networking. If you want to get out there. But what I'm trying to do now, and working with the NCIA, who's been gracious to allow me to do this, is to put it on our website in a much more cost-efficient manner.
Right.
So that way, people from all over the world can get this information, and it's so they can go out and spread accurate information to help our movement, instead of giving the what we just talked about, the different versions of lore that are out there. So
Right.
I'm very excited to be working with the National Cannabis Industry Association.
Yes, and I don't plug them enough. They have been amazing. They're the only national industry that is fighting for banking and to fix 280E, which are the tax problems. It's great that people have a local industry group that they are a part of, but everybody needs to join the National Cannabis Industry Association. It's
Absolutely.
The smallest is $100 a month. Anyone can afford that. So I also wanted to tell you that we're building out our lab, and I hope to be in it and ready to roll in 2 months, but I don't know if we're going to make it. But and I am more than happy to give tours. There'll be scheduled tours, but usually we're going to hold tours to our clients. But I would love to open the door to, if you want to get your staff together
Absolutely.
and come in. It really helps when you're visualizing it and you're seeing it versus just kind of talking about it. So definitely an open invitation there.
Well, thank you, Jennifer. And again, having the staff go and see it firsthand and having them be educated on it and excited about testing, and can come back and give our patients accurate information and get them excited about testing as well. So, one step at a time.
Yep. So how did you come about the business school? Were you just sitting there and like, God, nobody knows anything? No, I'm kidding.
I am the smartest person in the industry. I need to spread my knowledge. No.
Exactly.
It really came from firsthand experience. I'm sure you remember you started in April 2010, if I'm remembering that correctly.
Yeah.
So back then there was a lot of new information that came out on almost a daily basis. That if you were not in the know, and being in the know meant political ties. It meant just knowing the right people through money, maybe. And people were falling over themselves for the right information. And if you didn't have it, you potentially went out of business. And there were people that did go out of business simply because they didn't know they needed to file the appropriate paperwork in time. So my goal was to streamline that information for entrepreneurs so they didn't have to go through the struggles that I went through. If I would have had access to my own classes when I started taking over my dispensary, I would have saved hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that's not an exaggeration.
No, I know.
So it's really meant to the idea came from my own personal experience, and it's meant to cultivate, if you will, responsible business owners, so we can actually give back to our communities while simultaneously bettering our bottom line, because that's really what we're doing. And then therefore we can show our public officials that they do not need to create legislation in an effort to remove the cannabis industry, because we're not harmful to our communities. Colorado's done a great job with that on its own, but now I want to take this into new states that are just forming. Because, Jennifer, we've seen states like Massachusetts have very strict regulations just to even get in the business.
Oh, Connecticut.
And Connecticut as well.
Connecticut,
to be able to prove large amounts of financial wealth to even be considered, which is not fair under a market-driven society. And it should be market-driven. It should not be regulatory-driven. I would not be a dispensary owner if I lived in a place at a time where that was supposed to happen.
Pretty much
almost
none of us, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, which is not fair, and we've done a great job. So I think if we can show our public officials that there is a source for responsible business practices, we are working on getting through the responsible vendor program some sort of accreditation for these things. And I think that would encourage them to ease up the regulations and have for more fair business, which will also hurt the black market, and then therefore stop diversion, and then hopefully change the methods of money making from the cartels and other things of that nature.
Yeah, and we have such a great opportunity, and we figured it out. There is no reason why others can't figure it out. We're just going to help you so you don't stab yourself in the eye.
Exactly.
And I'm dead serious about that. Like you said, saving hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, start here, and if you need more information, hire a consultant. And I know, and I've said it many times, that consultants a lot of times are a waste of time. Not in this industry.
Absolutely.
You will gain so much money from a consultant, or partnering with somebody that already knows what's going on.
And on that note, real quick, I'm sorry, Denver Relief Consulting does offer discounted consulting services to folks that start off with our classes. So
great.
They have teamed up with me in that form to help provide additional value.
Great.
So start off with my classes, and then if it seems like something you want to pursue further, I would definitely contact Denver Relief Consulting. Great group of individuals that have taken a small dispensary and made it into something larger than life, if you will.
That's for sure.
And done it the right way. They started the Green Team in 2009 when we were all still worried about getting arrested by the local police.
Right.
They were out there in the news picking up trash. So
isn't that great?
Off,
so they were the first, weren't they the first Denver dispensary, I think, or first dispensary?
There was an interesting gray period where there were some dispensaries that had business licenses, but not an actual dispensary license. Those were not issued until August 2009. Walking Raven was actually the first dispensary in the state of Colorado to get an actual dispensary license.
Really?
And so it is different. So Denver Relief had a business license, and
Right.
they were operating. It was a heavy gray area back then. I think
Right.
it was mostly delivery. But then, I think just a month later, they were right there. We only beat out the other person by, I think, 2 hours. So it was kind of like that gold rush time where I think in 3 weeks, 500 licenses were given out.
And did they grandfather everybody around you?
They did, unfortunately. 'Cause
Why?
I don't know. The 1,000-foot rule is what you're referring to, which passed
Yeah.
on July 1st, 2010. They had a scare. They were going to get rid of them, and then I'm not quite sure. The politics are beyond me, thank goodness. But Denver's local city council decided to grandfather those folks in. But if things were to change, Walking Raven would be one of the few on the Green Mile instead of.
Oh my God! Can you imagine?
We have 12 in a 9-block radius of us right now, but
12.
we really stand out because of our premium grade medicine. We spend more money on our nutrients. We spend more money on our hand trimmers and things of that nature. When a lot of folks on South Broadway have really gone to low cost medicine that's not as potent, not as pure, not as good for you, honestly. So.
Well, and I always tell people you're going to lose the pricing war. Why not build value? And if you feel you have no value, then you need to build some value. And you do that by having incredible medicine or creating different medicine. So people are coming to your store for your strains and that kind of thing. And again, it's education. People don't realize that not all cannabis is created equal. It's not even close to created equal. And I know Tamar has taught me so much about hash. It's unbelievable. And she has also given me some hash and talked to me and literally talked to me about the differences and stuff because I'm not a connoisseur. Like I can't smell a plant and tell you what strain it is. Like that's amazing. I can't do that. I can't even grow a cactus. So, she really helps me to kind of mind body, if you will, and try to pay attention to those things.
And Tamar, that's amazing, and we need to keep that up more so with the adult use market. When we talk about all the false information that's out there right now, those are with registered medical marijuana patients who actually took that effort. Now we're going to be talking to the rest of the world here, and it's no longer going to be medicine for everyone. It's going to be adult use. So either more to protect our industry and our movement, we need to educate these people on the good of cannabis and the science behind it. That way it doesn't get lumped into that alcohol tobacco category that we both know doesn't deserve to be in.
No.
But the rest of the country is waiting. And it's going to be up to Colorado to do this in an altruistic manner. Which you guys are already doing. I'm preaching the choir here, but it's an interesting concept to keep up. Another reason why I feel like the Cannabis Business School Consulting was good to get these professional business people that don't quite understand that on how we're going about our industry. And more importantly, how it's going to make them money, right? I mean, business folks are always interested in their bottom line and their longevity. This is going to teach them how to do that.
No, I completely agree. And I honestly think, though, that more people are going to try it medicinally. Nobody likes to be on a list, 1. 2, we don't accept PTSD for red card holders. So I know that I hope our veterans, try it out because it's been amazing for PTSD. But my dad refuses to get a card in Arizona because he doesn't want to be on a list and he needs it for his feet.
Does he use recreationally though? He just doesn't.
Not
wanna
really.
be? Okay.
No. I mean, he used to back in the day, but now it's mainly for his feet. I mean, every once in a while, but more importantly, it's, for him to sleep because his feet hurt so much. But, it's a fine line, as we've talked about, because if I take it for my cramps, is that medicinally?
Sure. Of
course it is.
What's mainstream medicine and what's
Right.
what's holistic medicine, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
If I've had a really bad day and I want to have a puff instead of a glass of wine, Okay, maybe that's
medicine.
right. Yeah, I mean,
Stress
I don't
relief.
know. Yeah, I mean, people take pills for everything. Pop a pill, pop a pill. So there's kind of a cross of recreational and medicinal. And unfortunately, I think a lot of the public think recreational is going to be used all day, every day, 7 days a week.
Sure. That's why we have to keep up this education.
Right.
And you know what I like to say about all the people who are recreationally using, whether they're doing it for recreation as a alternative to cannabis or cigarettes, it's still good for you. You know, any kind of consumption of cannabis is good for you. But yes, I agree with what you guys are saying as far as we're stepping into, I guess, more of the world light, because before now we've been it's easy to educate to someone who's already curious, versus
Right.
recently I've been talking to people who are still hostile, extremely hostile, I would say, because it's connotated with, on CNN they were saying it's the worst aspects of tobacco and alcohol combined.
Totally
Which
lying.
Unbelievable.
And called this segment
That's a complete
Pot
lie.
for Tots.
Yeah.
When they're talking about kids with seizure disorders and how it's literally changed their lives, and they're calling it Pot for Tots.
Right.
Unbelievable.
So it's such BS that they even. It's so annoying.
On the other hand, I'm real excited to see, through your work too, Jennifer, the cannabinoids can make it into mainstream medicine soon through the realm of caring and
Right.
places to help kids with Dravet syndrome, I believe.
Yep.
And, that's the science is coming down the pike, and once we can get some federally funded mainstream research group to actually take the plunge and verify some of these results, we can actually start getting this into hospitals. And I think that is going to be a huge revolution that's going to trump legalization. But on one very quick last note, I wanted to say that there are new classes available.
It's only a break.
About, I'm sorry?
It's only a break, honey. You have some more time.
Okay.
We'll
I'm
take
getting
a,
the signals. All right.
we'll
deal.
take a break. We'll be right back. Yeah, that.
Hi, I'm Josh Stanley.
And I'm Jesse Stanley.
Two of the brothers here from National Geographic's American Weed, and we'd like to invite you to come into our dispensaries in Colorado Springs. Come in for the most pure organic strain selection in Colorado. It's all hand-grown by the Stanley brothers, especially for our patients. So come in and visit us at our two locations, East Platte and West Colorado. And remember,
Always be kind to each other.
This segment was brought to you by The Farm, a medical marijuana care center located at 2801 Iris Street in Boulder. The Farm carries premium, cannabis, edibles, and Hummingbird brand products. Visit our new cannabis lifestyle store for your local artesian glass, vaporizers, and hemp clothing. The Farm has been serving Boulder since 2009. Isn't it time you come and see what we have to offer?
I'm Gary Johnson, and you're listening to iCannabis Radio, and I want to say, talk it up, Colorado.
All right, so you go ahead. What did you want to talk about?
I'm sorry, Jennifer. I get ahead of
That was
myself.
hilarious. I love
get
it.
ahead of myself. I'm sorry. I'm
No,
always,
I love
always the
it.
showsman. Yes.
Love it. It's totally fine.
But no, I just we did introduce some new classes on cannabis in school and consulting earlier this morning, actually. Featuring Brian Vicente and Christian Cederberg at their recent seminar about the implementation of Amendment 64. So they go into in depth on businesses out here, what you need to know as far as the timetables for converting your licenses, different or possibly getting a dual license, different regions or cities and local municipalities and how they're going to approach recreational cannabis sales. As well as the former mayor of Aurora, Ed Tower, is also speaking at the event, and he talks about how Aurora is going to be approaching adult-use cannabis commercial infrastructures.
Which fantastic, fantastic, because they banned medical.
They did
FYI.
ban medical, and he talks about how why they did that and the political atmosphere for adult use cannabis, which is highly pertinent information if you're looking to get in the business or if you're already in the business. There's a lot of unique opportunities in Aurora. So anyway, they've been very nice to let me record this footage. It was a $250 ticket if you wanted to attend the seminar live back in May. It is now live on my website for $45.
And what is it?
It's the seminar on Amendment 64 implementation.
For Aurora. For inflammation, but it was in Aurora.
It was actually in Denver. We had the former mayor of Aurora speak.
Oh, the former mayor of Aurora. Okay, I
Tower.
remember.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. And it was on May 17th, a seminar hosted by Vicente Cedarburg LLC, who Brian Vicente helped co-author the Amendment 64, the bill that passed, and then Christian Cedarburg was instrumental and helped author a lot of the legislation that recently passed as well. So can't really
almost
get
died during the whole task
and
force.
Literally almost died. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Christian.
Can't really get much
just
better.
because it was so stressful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
sorry.
Not literally.
Not
everybody.
literally.
Sorry.
Sorry. Just
felt like it. Yes.
Yeah, we all did. So what else do you want to tell us about it? And how can, if they go on the website, can they call, or is it just better to go on the website or email?
Go on the website directly at cannabusinessschool.com. There you will find a list of our 12 key classes. Those classes include everything from developing your business plan and gathering funds. Obviously, Jennifer, as you know, if you do that the wrong way in the cannabis industry, you can go to federal prison. So the idea is to teach folks how to stay out of jail and do this responsibly. Also, Jim Marty, both of our accountants, goes in depth on 280E, how to avoid an IRS audit, and how to go about doing your daily accounting practices, including tricky things with cost of goods sold, retail overhead expenses.
Testing is the cost of goods
sold. Things like that. Testing is...
That's what Jim Marty told me.
It's not supposed to be in normal business, but in this business it is. And that's why it's important to know the differences between the cannabis business. Because if you bring in the normal business practices, you would put testing not under cost of goods sold and potentially get an IRS audit. So... Brian Vicente, Christian Cedarburg go into how to legally open and run a medical marijuana center or an adult use center as well. Christian Cedarburg's classes has over 200 PowerPoint slides. So these classes are very in-depth. We spent hours and hours going over each one of your words. I personally typed up over 150 PowerPoint slides for each class. So we feel like it allows the consumer, it allows you to stop, pause, rewind. There's footnotes at the end of each segment. So it's the most comprehensive way to understand this rare cannabis inside information that's out there right now. And it's also convenient 24/7 because unless you live in Colorado, it's very hard to get to go visit these folks and try to get this information. We're very spoiled out here. So
we are, which I keep forgetting.
In the world. And there's also a hemp piece, which I'm very excited to talk about as well, because that's a whole new industry that's coming about. Jason Love, who is an author of HB 1099, which was the hemp remediation pilot program. So he's really been a groundbreaking person in getting commercial hemp cultivated in Colorado.
So speaking of Jason Love, oh my God, it's crazy. He's in a wheelchair. He had a skiing accident. And we were at Jared Polis's event 2 weeks ago, and I get a tap on my back, and I look behind me, and it's him standing with a cane. He's
doing great.
Oh my God, like his regiment that he's worked with Robert Melamede, and I believe with River Rock, with their Priva, and he is more and more walking. It is incredible. I mean, he was smiling from ear to ear, and I almost just teared up. It was incredible, just from a cannabis regime helping him walk again. So pretty incredible.
One of the best people in our industry and just a role model, honestly.
Yeah.
I got a lot of respect for Jason. But to answer your question, Jennifer, so you just go online and you can buy the classes right there online. They download instantly. Or if you have any questions, we have a support page, and I have a support staff that'll get back to you very shortly.
Cool. Right. And then if they want to get some cannabis from Walking Raven, where are you at?
2001 South Broadway. Still got to have a registered medical marijuana card, but come on in. We have a special on the Hong Kong diesel running every weekend right now. So.
And are you going to dual license at the Walking Raven? How's that? I don't know much about it.
We're still waiting on Denver. Denver's deciding if they're going to allow dual licensing or not.
They have to.
Yeah, we feel like they will.
They really have to. There's no room for any. I mean, when the moratorium comes up after 9 months, good luck finding a place. There's nothing in Denver.
No.
Zero.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly. So. If they do allow that, then we're excited to do the dual licensing.
You want to do, okay.
We do. They have the vertical separation.
Right.
Excuse me, the virtual separation, so we can have two counters at the same store, that one for medical and one for recreational.
Right.
So was a huge groundbreaking development that actually Christian
Yes.
was a leader of,
Yes.
and that's so important for our industry.
Absolutely important. And what's coming down to it now is that recreational or adult use will have a 25% tax plus a city tax. So
Unbelievable.
people are thinking that people will keep their red cards so they won't have to pay those high taxes. But again, it all comes down to when we buy cigarettes or alcohol, we pay that extra tax. We also, so it's kind of unfortunately going to go down to the patients. I mean, they're going to have to pay the additional stuff, testing, for instance. Everybody's going to have testing. That's going to, be an added expense. Child-proof packaging, added expense. So, I hope on the whole prices come up anyway, because it's absolutely ridiculous for $25 an eighth. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, more than I do. It's extremely hard to grow, at that price point. It really is.
It really, absolutely. If you want to grow high-grade medicine, and it's kind of an unfortunate side effect of the campaign to regulate marijuana like alcohol, right? Is that we are going to get taxed like alcohol or cigarettes, when we just got done talking about how it's none of the two. Those new standards as well, they're going to be passed along to the consumer, but they're not going to might drive down the cost of my eighth still for me. So if I have to sell an eighth for $30 and now I have to charge them $40, but that extra $10 is going towards packaging, is going towards compliance issues. That's not going in my pocket. So, so I'm still growing and getting the same margins as I was, even though I'm charging more. So it's not that. I mean, it's just growing pains. We need more regulations in certain areas, and we need less regulations in other areas.
And you bring up tobacco and alcohol. And, you look at pharmaceuticals right now. You get subsidies, or you have insurance. And if you're getting a certain type of medication, then your insurance will cover it. Hopefully one day we will have cannabis insurance.
We will.
Absolutely.
We definitely will. And in fact, I bet people are working on it right this second.
Right.
And if you're not, hurry. Oh, absolutely.
Or give me a call.
Well, now you have insurance for your business. There was no such thing for that, right? People,
Absolutely.
you called farmers and they were like, "Yeah, smoke another." Now you have, parts of insurance companies like Canasure, which is one of our sponsors, that absolutely do insurance. And, so I know all of that will come. When will it come? That's the question.
Right.
We first need a bank.
That's why, again, I go back to them. I am a big fan of the National Cannabis Industry Association.
Yes.
They're out there. Their last lobby days that they just had in June was highly successful, and they helped recruit over 4 congressmen to sponsor cannabis bills, congressmen and women, excuse me. So it was groundbreaking moves that you almost read about in the news every day. Folks like Jared Polis or Ed Perlmutter are standing up to the federal government for our rights. There's just a lot of growing pains to get through. How are we going to tax it? What kind of regulations do we need to jump through? So,
right. And there'll be growing pains, just like prohibition with alcohol.
Right.
You had all of those. Ed Perlmutter's, I know both of his, I believe they're his cousins. I went to high school with one and elementary school with the others.
Very cool.
It's such a small world here, especially
That's
when you
how
grew
you're
up
so
here.
smart.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Right. Tamar, I'm so sorry. We kind of just, what's going on? Give us some science stuff.
In 3 minutes.
In 3
I'm
minutes.
sorry, that's my fault.
No.
No.
Fine.
That's why we have guests. Totally.
I'm looking at your site right now. Do you have, a specific category for cannabinoid science?
Right now, the only testing class we have is through Jennifer Murray.
Okay.
I do want to expand that tomorrow. Maybe I can talk to you if you wanted to teach a class as well.
Absolutely.
We can dive deeper. I want to maybe get Alan Shackelford a part of that. I want to do a whole science division that can really be used towards training, I feel like, as far as a business perspective. Instantly train your staff from the top educated people in the world on the endocannabinoid cannabinoid system. So yes, like let's do it. Yeah.
Okay, absolutely.
Definitely. I mean, I think it would be great if maybe even her and Heather could do it
Yes.
or something. That'd be
It'd be
pretty
fun.
cool. Yeah, chemist and biochemist.
I
There
have
you
your
go.
card, so yeah. That'd be very exciting. And, that's really would help the altruistic movement too. Maybe we can team up with Dixie Elixir and maybe make it free for some folks.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That would be good. Well, we'll save. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna. If you are a member of the NCIA right now, you do get one class for free. That's as a part of your membership package. I do work with the NCIA, and I offer one free class to every member. So if you are a member of the NCIA, just go ahead and log on. Go under the Access panel, and it'll say NCIA Member Benefits. Go ahead and then give you step-by-step instructions on how to access your free class.
All right. And next week, we are going to have Chris Walsh on our show from MJ Business Daily, which is a business site that basically gives news daily. They also hosted the first national cannabis symposium or seminar last November. So he's going to talk a little bit about that. And then the following week, I have a task force meeting, which I just found out about. So Tamar, I believe, will be here. I did get a commitment from a doctor
Okay.
that treats, the Dravet kids in Colorado Springs. So I believe Tamar will have her on. And then there's actually a writer that was supposed to come on too named Walter. So
Okay.
we'll have to figure that out. So anyway, Tamar will be here the 29th. I will not, but both of us will see you next week. And Luke, thank you so much for coming on.
Sure, thank you guys.
Really appreciate it.
I was very happy to be here. Thanks, Jennifer.
All right. Take care.